This is the last interview for the day. This is Troy. And Troy, I believe, is the South Australian coordinator for Hoodies Heroes. And I interviewed him 3 years ago. The interview I did, though, he spoke quietly, so it's very hard to hear. I was going to put it up, but I think I'll just put up the recent interview. And so we met him last night again. And I just want to put it up because in very difficult times like this, leaders pop up from anywhere. I don't think our opposition can see or can even decide where they're going to come from or guess where they're going to come from. They come from nowhere. And this man was a disability support worker and worked part-time in the garage. But in this, he says something profound where he talks about patriotism now is a thought crime. And it's just the way he says it, it's amazing. But this is Troy. He's also, if any single ladies are in the Port Lincoln or Peninsula area, he's also single. He's a bit shy about it, but I think after 6 years of being, or 5 years of being in the trench, he could do with some friendship. So this is Troy. I really love this guy. It's coming. I don't know what's going on. Let's start that again. Stupid program. This. Come on, get it all set up. Do a great intro, and then just sits there black. Let's have a look.
With the
You love it.
Okay, let's stay here. I'll just talk crap for a bit. Must have been something coming in. Come on. Okay, just talk. I'll just talk. So, and we'll be in Port Lincoln. We got about 80 books to send off tomorrow. So, sorry for the delay with those, but we've had the delivery today. We're still waiting on the delivery some more. Then we're going to be working our way up to Streaky Bay.
So, tell us what you usually say at the start or end of meetings.
Oh yeah, at the end of a meeting, I usually say, "Don't follow me. I'm just here. It's the beard doing the talking."
So, Troy, we interviewed you about 3 years ago, and let's fill in. So, what were you doing before COVID? We're just going to talk the odyssey that you've been through. So, before COVID, what were you doing?
Well, before COVID, I was working in fire and safety, and I was sort of looking to get into a different field, if you know what I mean. So I went into disability work, and I was, going quite well with that.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, I loved it.
What did you love about it?
Well, helping people, and a lot of the things that we dealt with, was just helping people with their lives, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
so you're making a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, well, making a difference in people's lives and that type of thing. So yeah.
Now, when I was here, you were losing that job because you refused to take the jab.
Yeah. I ended up losing that job. I think in the other interview we talked a little bit about what it was like covering people when they were invited to get vaccinated, and did a lot of extra work doing that. And then of course it came to being mandated, and we're all out basically. We were told that we wouldn't be. We were given leave without pay, and told that we wouldn't lose our job because of the mandates. And then right before they dropped the mandates, like the South Australian state mandates, they chose to keep them with the company that I was working for, and sacked everyone that was didn't want to comply, basically. So
now, when they sacked you, but I heard that, or if I remember rightly, they were pretty short-staffed then.
Yeah.
So to sack you meant that the people who needed care got even less care.
Yeah, well, I was doing quite a bit of work. I was pretty much doing full-time care work and also working at the survey just as a casual part. Just casual, 15 hours a week. So that's sort of what I fell back on. And right around that time, I got the opportunity to step up as assistant manager, and that was sort of why I wasn't able to get to Epic, which it was right around that time. But I had to go to do interviews and submit all this stuff to be able to.
This was for the survey?
Yeah, that was the survey, and so right around the time I lost the work with disability, I sort of was lucky to get that job, and that was 30 hours a week. And then after about 6 months, I ended up becoming the manager at the survey. So it's a bit like herding cats sometimes, but it's guys do a great job.
Now, can I ask, are you Port Lincoln born, or you come from somewhere else?
Well, my whole family's from Port Lincoln, really, and this is really the first time I felt like home. But because my old man was in the army, I'm actually from town. I was born in Townsville, in Queensland. Yeah, so I left there when I was, too young to remember really, and grew up sort of as an army brat around Victoria and also Adelaide, and then after leaving home and that went. Travelled for a couple of years and played gridiron in Queensland, and because I used to play gridiron in South Australia, so I went up and played gridiron in Queensland and had a job as a furniture removalist doing long distance removals, so it was actually really good getting paid basically to go see the sites. You know what I mean? That was back in 2000 though, before 2000. But yeah.
How did I know we'll get to club grubbery in a sec, but how did your community and your family and friends react to your decision not to take the jab?
Well, when I was talking to the people that I was working for, they basically said, "Oh, you do an excellent job, and we don't want to lose you. Can you just take it?" sort of thing. And I was expressing my concerns, and they just sort of weren't really interested at all. You know what I mean? If people weren't going to take it, that was it. My family, basically everyone in my family took it. I used to work in health and fitness years ago, and used to have personal training clients and that type of thing years ago. So and also the eldest Letitia, out of one of my other family's cousin, she was really knowledgeable with health, and we were the only two in our whole family that chose not to take it. And I think we were sort of shunned a little bit, but not a huge amount. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And now since then, so we came here and we did the interview with you, and then soon after that, Hoodie turned up.
Yeah, about a month after you guys were here, Hoodie was coming through on his tour, and it was actually I didn't realise he was so close. And a couple of nights before, I was watching a Club Grubbery episode, and they usually, when Graham ends the show with a prayer, I kept going with the prayer, kept the prayer phone open, you know what I mean, and sort of put my head down on my hands on the table in front of me, and I was just really pouring my heart out, asking, how can I best, just tell me how I can best serve, how can I best serve? And that's what I was asking. And then the next morning, it was really out of the blue, the next morning about 8 o'clock, 8:30, might have even been 8:32, but Jill rang and said, "Hey, Hoodie's coming tomorrow, do you want to come around?" And I said, yeah, awesome, and so my only real expectation was to, sort of the same as when I met you, was just to say good day and shake your hand, and ended up having a really good yarn with Hoodie, and he ended up offering me the role of South Australia State Coordinator for the Hoodies Heroes side of things. So And around that time, we met like a few days after. We were sort of starting to talk about groups and forming groups, and so we met a few days after, and it just happened to be the 4th of July that we met and decided to form our local group here in Port Lincoln. And yeah, so that was the 4th of July, 3 years ago now, so just over 3 years, yeah, so. And
what activities did the group get up to?
Well, we started off mainly sort of doing coffee catch-ups and barbecues and sort of meeting at the pub for dinners and things like that. But we were also doing information type sessions about solar setups and off-grid type stuff. And what is it we did with this digital ID thing coming in? We did a whole bunch of research and talked to a couple of experts around that, and ended up putting together a information session that a bunch of people I presented and a bunch of people came to, just to sort of be aware that there's alternatives and just what to look out for. Yeah, and we've also done a whole lot of other fun sort of things, just catching up, and we went out and did a come and try session out at the local pistol club. And a whole bunch of people turned up, and they, it was great. Just go out, and a lot of people hadn't even sort of picked up a pistol before. You know what I mean? So it was good sort of education about that type of thing, and the safety around that type of thing, and also just have a go. You know what I mean? And
just have some fun together.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a really fun sort of thing. Just shooting some targets and. Seeing how inaccurate we all are and all that sort of thing, you know what I mean?
So what challenges has the group faced,
Well, as time has gone on, we've sort of, it's really a war. So we're sort of, you get a bit of war weariness set in a little bit, and so it's hard a little bit to stay motivated sometimes, but we sort of push through that and help motivate each other when we need. There's sort of it's about 190 people in the group on Facebook, but when we do get good turnouts, there's about 20 odd people turn up. You know what I mean? So that's
yeah. And so you got the 20 turning up. What do you see moving forward? What do you think could bring people more into the community?
Well, I think we sort of started the group as people with similar values coming together and being there to help each other and build relationships and that sort of, and all that for probably one of the things is that we weren't all alone, you know what I mean? Yeah. Early on, especially with all the COVID stuff, a lot of people thought they were alone and didn't realise the number of people that were actually questioning and around them. And I think a lot of the stats were probably a bit exaggerated about the uptake and all that sort of thing of some things.
Now, yesterday, we had the gathering yesterday, and you did a speech, and you were actually choking up in the speech. What was making you choke up?
Well, what was making me choke up was really the first time that we all got together in real life, I call it. On Facebook, you're sort of in the ether a little bit, but a whole bunch of us knew each other. We were Facebook friends, and we were talking and chatting on all these things, and didn't realise, that was the first time that a lot of us actually got the chance to come together. And there was about 100 people here that first time you were here. And to meet Crete and Wendy as well, and it was great. It was a really good night, and as I said, all I really expected was to say good day and shake your hand, and ended up doing an interview and all that. So that was awesome. So yeah,
kind of roped you in again.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I'm quite happy to talk about things and. Yeah.
So back to what made you choke up? Is it just how hard it's been, or what is it?
Yeah, it is. It's sort of it is, how hard it's sort of been, just sort of almost constant pressure, always being that hyper-vigilant state. You know what I mean? I'm sort of a little bit of a watchdog, or not a watchdog, a sheepdog sort of personality. You know what I mean? Where I'm sort of, there's the bad guys, come on guys, But one of those things is the bad guys can turn the herd against the sheepdog. You know what I mean? And all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so that was a big part of what choked me up is how important your first visit was to us actually forming together as a group, and all of the things from there sort of happening after that. And also later in the what I said about when I went to the rally on the 13th of September, I think it was, in Adelaide, and just how much it was misrepresented on the TV. It was totally false what they said on the TV, really, about all this stuff. And what really choked me up was after it was so beautiful, everyone was there, everyone was mates, you know what I mean? Everyone was there for similar reasons, and we formed up and we were walking down North Terrace from Rundle Park down to, I think it's down by the Torrens, Elders Park I think it is, and as I was walking along, I was sort of keeping a bit of an eye on the police, making sure they weren't going to try and kettle us or anything like that. And there was all the police were actually really quite respectful, and there was 2 police officers standing like just in front of me, off to the side a little bit, and I sort of caught their eye, and as I caught the male police officer's eye, he just nodded at me and said, thanks for what you're doing. I know you're marching for us too. And my jaw dropped, and I just like, thanks, it means so much,
Yeah. Yeah, they get it.
Yeah. They get it, and there was no real problems, and it was a beautiful day like that, and yeah.
Is the state's portraying you as like a redneck Nazi danger to society?
Yeah,
do you feel that you're a redneck Nazi danger to society?
Mate, it's not at all. I think the left and the right, the 2 wings of the one bird, the heart's in the middle. And I think if we all actually get the opportunity to talk about things properly, we realise that we have a lot more in common with each other, even people that voted differently to us than the people pulling the strings.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Can I ask how, because I don't believe that we've just been on a journey, it's been on an odyssey. We've had to find different strengths and stuff within us. How has the last few years changed you as a man?
Well, I think our skin has all gotten a lot thicker, just from all the pathetic attempts to discredit people and all that sort of stuff. It's really, my journey myself. I'm fascinated by what makes people tick. So part of what I used to do in disability work is positive behavioural development, that type of thing. Encourage people to actually do things that they're capable of, instead of, because it's that you're actually doing a disservice if you do it for them all the time. So there's that part of it, and I think being able to see the propaganda, how blatant it is and how obvious it is nowadays, it spins me out that a lot of people with blind trust in authority just still believe it, regardless of how ridiculous it gets, But yeah, anyway, so I think I've done a lot of self-development over the last few years. I mean, I love that sort of stuff anyway, but about learning more about what makes people tick, and also I don't really see myself as the leader of the group or anything like that. I sort of see myself as the person or the individual that is really just keeping my finger on the pulse of what's happening, and almost a central point, not the central point, but a central point, because there's a few people in the group who help do all that stuff. And yeah.
Well, you said last night that you Hoodie asked you to be the leader, and you said, "I don't want to really do that."
Yeah, well, after talking, I had a really good yarn with Hoodie there for quite a while, and talking about all sorts of stuff, and then he offered me the role as a state coordinator, and I sort of, I don't know, and he said, "Oh, you can sort of just try it out for a couple of weeks, see if you like, see whether you gel with it, that sort of thing." And when I was thinking, I thought, well, I thought back to the couple of nights before when I was praying, and also thought, well, usually I don't really want to do it, but usually the best people for the role are the people that don't actually want to do it.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So I said yes, and it's with all the networking and all that sort of stuff. It has changed my life a bit. I'd never really thought I'd be doing this type of thing. You know what I mean? And
out of the Port Lincoln resistance.
Yeah, almost. But I never thought I'd be doing that type of thing, or and I didn't really want to, but it's sort of. I was asked to, and I think that was, the prayer a couple of nights before, sort of, pointed me in that direction, if you know what I mean. So it's.
What do you think of the other two issues facing now? Is the people against mass migration and the hate speech laws, which seem to be. What's your thoughts on those?
Well, the mass migration thing. There's nothing wrong with immigration or immigrants or any of that type of thing. The problem is when it's actually weaponised against a country or against cultures and used like this Great Reset rubbish to dilute cultures and undermine countries, really, the sovereignty of countries. That's really what it's being used for. If people would just take their blinkers off and look at the stuff instead of being fastest to scream racist, you know what I mean, then we could actually talk about it and talk properly about it. That's what really needs to happen. And what was the other one?
The hate speech laws.
The hate speech laws, I think it's crazy. Really to be able to talk issues through properly, you need to be able to talk about the issue of some of these, with the wokeness through a lot of stuff. It's quite. I think it's quite toxic when you can't actually talk about the issue, and because to solve an issue, you've got to be able to actually talk about it, and you've got to be able to talk about the effects of what's happening. Whereas, I mean, a lot of the extreme left, they seem to have these failed sort of policy or these failed type of
ideologies.
These failed type of things that they want to do, ideologies, and they, instead of realising that it's a bad idea, they think, well, why doesn't it work? We'll just double down and try harder. And it just, so it doesn't work even more, you know what I mean? That's really what it seems like we're in. And we need to get back to some common sense, I think, and a lot of that is around freedom of speech and actually calling things for what they are. And a lot of the world leaders don't seem to want to call things for what they are. And so I respect the ones that are actually doing that.
There's not many, there's a few.
No, see, there's a few, and unfortunately the few seem to have been propagandised by media to be hated, you know what I mean, or populism, or, nationalism, or being proud of your country seems to be like a thought crime nowadays or something.
Wow, I can't believe you just said that.
You know what I mean? So,
being proud of your country is a thought crime.
That's almost what it seems like. It's,
100%. Can I ask, where do you see us going? What's your thoughts of the next few years?
Well, honestly, I think with all the propaganda around politics, I think Pauline Hanson's probably been primed to be the next Prime Minister. I think that's, with all the media attention and everything, I think that's what's probably on the way. there is the possibility it might be all just media hype to try and fool people into thinking it you know, it's like, you know, the major parties have all been involved in those types of stunts in the past, where they've basically made the opposition look ridiculous, or, you know, anyone that challenges look ridiculous, or this could be something like, you know, making them look absolutely unstoppable. Anyway.
Are you noticing people waking up in the area?
Yeah, I think, with networking with freedom groups and all that type of thing, you know, I've networked with lots of different groups and also local groups, and yeah, there's a lot of people. I think a lot more people are waking up, and yeah, it's really important to sort of, you know, the people that took a couple and then said no more, you know, we need to sort of, you know, support those guys as well, you know, because yeah, they are waking up, you know what I mean, and they need our help more than they, you know, it's the brotherly love sort of thing, or sisterly and brotherly love sort of thing, you know, that is what they need, you know, and because especially, I mean, I think waking up, it's a bit of a grieving process almost, because once you've seen what's going, once you've seen reality for reality, I guess, there's no unseeing it. So yeah, it's it's a bit of a grieving process almost, you know what I mean? Going through all that and actually realising almost everything's a lie and propaganda and all that, and just the degree of propaganda, especially nowadays, it's pretty much at the point where the government's lied too much. You know, when you're teaching kids not to lie, you know, it's sort of it gets to the point where someone's lied too much and they just can't tell the truth anymore, so they keep lying and lying and lying and digging themselves deeper and deeper. And I think that's becoming more and more obvious, the deeper they dig themselves. And it's just getting to the point where you've got to be totally blind to be following it and not questioning, you know what I mean? So yeah.
To change the subject completely, because you've been fighting now, facilitating your local group and stuff and networking, but are you with someone or are you single?
Yeah, I'm single at the moment. Yeah, I was sort of.
Are you open to offers from the fairer sex?
Oh, of course, yeah. I'm definitely keen on the fairer sex. But yeah, I was sort of being perceived as a group leader, even though I don't really consider myself a group leader. I have people asking other people out in the group and stuff has sort of created an uncomfortable thing for some people, and so I've made an effort myself not to actually do that, you know what I mean, because I'm sort of perceived as a group leader. I don't want to be hitting on people and all that sort of stuff, and I want people to actually be comfortable at the meetings and that and all that. So that's, yeah, anyway.
But your flag is up.
Yeah, definitely, yeah, I'm definitely, yeah, I'm single and...
I want to say, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Sure.
Because I want to say to you, thank you for what you're doing. Because I think sometimes in the groups people take, I don't know if people thank you, probably they do, but it's an unpaid job. It's life consuming sometimes, and it can get very frustrating when you think, where are we going? What are we achieving? You watch the numbers dwindle. So I want to thank you for sticking to your guns and doing what you've been doing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
That's the reason to do the interview, is to celebrate those amongst us who, especially the men, who've had the courage to persevere.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's good to see more men actually getting involved and waking up. I think early on it was mostly the women that were saying, "Hey, there's bad guys over there," and it's taken a while for the men to sort of wake up to it, I think, and wake up to the apparent sort of danger that we're all in, I think.
I could be anything for you, I would be your cure. I'd pour light into your wounds to soak their poison into the potions of love, into the golden and smoldering potions of love.
So help us rise. We're very
And
grateful.
as their darkness drained, I would tear apart your cage, remolding the bars that held you into your destined wings, into your destined wings, flying above us all in your destined wings.
Absolutely gorgeous. We were the only people parked.
If from your flight you return, I would have sewn a blanket for you, cut fresh from the curative fabric of spring. But hopefully you'd fly off to that destination you were born with, the one they tried to steal from your soul. That destination you were born with, the one they tried to steal from your soul. If I could be anything for you,
I'd like to say a huge thank you to
I would be your cure.
who's come out and supported Michael and Cafe Lockdown to continue doing good.
If I could be anything for you, I would be your cure. I would tear apart your cage, remolding the bars that held you into your destined wings, your destined wings, your destined wings, your destined wings. Fly, just fly. Realize all that is holding you down. The concepts. If I could be anything for you, if I could be anything, I would be your cure. I would be your cure. I would be your cure. If I could be anything for you, I would be your cure. I'd pour light into your wounds to soak their poison into the potions of love, into the golden and smoldering potions of love.